So today we're going to finally be speaking on Scala Ad Caelum, a world that Master Xehanort finally speaks of within the new Kingdom Hearts 3 Final Battle trailer. And he speaks about this world as if it's the one world that he spoke of one time in his Xehanort reports. So we're going to be talking about this more in depth because Master Xehanort speaks of this world so fondly, and I feel like there's some things within the story, once again, just like of course what happened with the last video, in which I feel like there's a lot of things here that already gives us a little bit of hints as towards, of course, Scala Ad Caelum and what it means to Master Xehanort himself. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first topic I want to talk about here is whether or not Master Xehanort and Master Ericus were trained within Scala Ad Caelum, in which I'm going to have to say I feel the definitive answer for this. If we go off of what we know, this could always be retconned within Kingdom Hearts 3, or maybe Tetsuya Nomura wasn't thinking about this stuff whenever he, of course, decided to create Scala Ad Caelum, or whenever he decided to finally bring the idea into an actual project. As he mentioned, he has been wanting to do this apparently since he's been working on Final Fantasy. I guess he's been wanting to create like a world to where there's like vast amounts of knowledge and stuff like that, and Keyblade wielders all over the place and stuff like that. So apparently this is probably that world. So but let's go ahead and talk about this. So within Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, there's a report called the Keyblade Masters. And this report states that while the word master might be tossed around, only an existing Keyblade master can pass on the title and its associated powers. They often elect to test candidates for the Mark of Mastery. Among the Keyblade Masters is one true successor, who is tasked with protecting a hallowed ground known as the Land of Departure. So with this, we know that, of course, obviously this means that out of the vast amount of Keyblade wielders that will go on to become Keyblade Masters within the universe, one is tasked with protecting the Land of Departure. Now, what's interesting is that even though it states this in such a vague way that you can kind of say, oh, well, that's not saying where, of course, Ericus and Master Xehanort were trained, Master Xehanort does actually mention in his very own reports when he talks to Ericus within a letter, he says, "Please accept my deepest gratitude for the invitation to witness your pupil's ascension to the office of True Keyblade Master. It was a very heavy mantle our master placed upon your shoulders, naming you successor, but you have nonetheless persevered and raised two masters yourself. I know it cannot be easy." And then he also states a little later on, "Our master chose his heir wisely." So apparently, of course, their master, Xehanort and Ericus's master, was the previous, of course, successor that overtook guarding the Land of Departure. So I think that that pretty much answers our question. Plus, I did a little bit of looking at, of course, where they were within the E3 2015 trailer, and looking and harkening back to, of course, that initial opening within Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, in which the characters are within, of course, the structure that is in the Land of Departure, their home. And when they're in there, you can kind of see a few similarities, and I mean this more so towards, like, of course, the design of the inside. And then if you look at the E3 2015 trailer, of course, you can kind of see those same similarities, in which you see like this these golden, like, shapes on the walls, and then you can also see, of course, a lot of blue and stuff. Like there's like blue paint all over the damn walls and stuff. So I think that that's pretty much still a little bit closer to, I think, what we can see within the E3 2015 trailer where they're playing chess at. However, when it comes to Scala Ad Caelum, of course, we do know that if you look closely, you can see these chess pieces, or what looks to be chess pieces, within, like, built within, like, the structure of the world itself. So I know that that's probably why a lot of people bring it up, but I think that that could have something to do with, of course, Master Xehanort himself, and him probably being into chess, or probably, of course, if he had to rebuild it from memory or something like that using the power of Kingdom Hearts, that could be what it has to do with it. Now, this was also pointed out by a lot of people within the fandom. Many different people brought this up after further analysis of the trailer, that, of course, the designs on the buildings within Scala Ad Caelum look kind of close to the designs of the buildings we see within the Keyblade War. Or the Keyblade Graveyard, I should say, not the Keyblade War. The Keyblade Graveyard. So with that being the case, of course, we don't know for certain whether or not this means that Scala Ad Caelum is probably a different form of Daybreak Town, but we do know, of course, that the predecessors of course, Master Ericus and their master, they came up with a way to change the way worlds look by pretty much striking their keyholes with the key blade that is meant for that world, apparently. So Sora potentially could have the ability to change Destiny Islands. That's what I'm trying to say, because he has the keyblade from that world, the Kingdom Key. And to finally wrap up our final point about all of this, we have another statement from, of course, Master Xehanort within his reports, in which he states, "As a boy, I dreamed of seeing the farthest reaches of the world. If I only went far enough, there had to be a world out there in which no one had ever before set foot, and now I know of such a world. If I become the first to open Kingdom Hearts' door, I can create the next world in which light and darkness exist in perfect equilibrium." So there you go. I think that pretty much explains pretty much what Scala Ad Caelum probably means to Master Xehanort, opening up the door to Kingdom Hearts, which we do see him actually get close to Kingdom Hearts within the final battle trailer. Whether or not that means that's when he's going within it, and then of course he may come out, and this may be like what he does when he reshapes the world, and that's pretty much bring back Scala Ad Caelum, which is of course going to be a world that only he and Sora will be able to set foot on as, of course, Keyblade wielders. But of course, he does mention that Scala Ad Caelum does have its own history, that it was once a stronghold for Keyblade wielders. And with it once being a stronghold for Keyblade wielders, this obviously does mean that this isn't necessarily the world that no one else has ever been to. However, Kingdom Hearts is also stated within a Xehanort report that no one has ever gotten to Kingdom Hearts to the knowledge of the people that exist in the world today. So with that being the case, obviously if he gets to Kingdom Hearts, then he gets to go to his world that no one else has ever been to, and then he also of course gets to create Scala Ad Caelum, a world that may have a lot of knowledge, it may have a lot of different information, and may even be able to of course help with obviously governing the balances within the realm of light and darkness. As we do know, the Land of Departure kind of did serve this almost exact same purpose as well, which is why I think Xehanort went ahead and destroyed it in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, because it then gave way to the events of what came 10 years later within Kingdom Hearts 1, in which of course that world was no longer there to kind of protect the balance within the universe. So that's how Master Eric has explained the Land of Departure, and maybe Scala Ad Caelum probably has this same type of thing going for it, in which of course it may have something to do with being a world that's capable of shaping the universe. So if the Keyblade Graveyard is actually Scala Ad Caelum and not Daybreak Town as we thought it was, then think of things like this. If Scala Ad Caelum is, of course, the world that the Keyblade Graveyard is, we know that due to the battle within the Keyblade Graveyard, of course, the world was engulfed in darkness. You see where I'm going with this? If Scala Ad Caelum is connected to Kingdom Hearts, which its name translates to ladder or stairway to heaven, then of course, this would mean that obviously the battle that ensued on this land is what pretty much corrupted Kingdom Hearts and made it sink into the darkness and destroyed its, of course, X-Blade, its guardian, its protector. So I think that that's all going to be how Scala Ad Caelum links up to the actual story of Kingdom Hearts 3, in which of course I feel like it's not going to be the world where of course Xehanort and Ericus were trained, and that's why of course it's so important to Master Xehanort, but rather I think that this has something to do with like the Keyblade War, as he does mention to Master Ericus that of course the foretellers were the characters that actually of course started the Keyblade War, although he does call them the Lost Masters. So maybe we attributed that name to the foretellers, fairy tale to the foretellers, but maybe that's not actually the case. Maybe the Lost Masters could actually be these three individuals that probably govern these three houses that we see at the top of these three islands within Scala Ad Caelum. Now it should also be noted that of course if you look at the cables within Scala Ad Caelum, it looks like there may be some islands that are off screen, so maybe there is actually 5, and 5 is the exact same number as the amount of characters that were foretellers within Kingdom Hearts Key. So who knows, man? I think that that's pretty much the connections that I'm thinking of right now, but let me know the connections that you guys are thinking of about Scala Ad Caelum. So I feel like within this video we went ahead and eliminated the idea that this is where Master Xehanort and Master Ericus were trained. Of course their master was already an heir to, of course, the land of departure, and that master passed that role down to Master Ericus. So I think that that pretty much confirms that he was actually the master of the land of departure and its guardian. So I think that that removes Scala Ad Caelum as the potential world for them being trained there. And as far as its purpose within the story, I feel like, of course, because it's called the Stairway to Heaven, it may have some huge link to Kingdom Hearts, which of course everyone thinks. I think that it has some huge link to Kingdom Hearts, and the battle that probably ensued here that turned it into a barren wasteland, the Keyblade Graveyard, is potentially what caused Kingdom Hearts to sink into the darkness. If you look at this world, you see this world is completely bathed in light, and I mean it looks like it's completely bathed in pure light, because the light within the world doesn't shine like light we've seen in other worlds, whereas it doesn't shine like as if it's a star, but rather, of course, it's feels like, or it gives off the impression that it's like a white light. So maybe this is probably the same process like what we saw within Daybreak Town, in which the world, when it was being, of course, illuminated by Kingdom Hearts, it is also being illuminated by Kingdom Hearts within, of course, Scala Ad Caelum. But let me know what you guys think about this. This has been your boy Amaziah. Don't forget to do a little A-class gaming, and everything you do, don't forget to keep it A-class, and I'll catch you guys within the next one. Peace the heck out.
What's left of me? What's left of me? And you and I, there's a new land.